We are very privileged and honored to have Father Tony Salema, the Vice President of the Archdiocese Board of Education, to talk to us on the new education policy. For the purposes of this particular program, I'm not going to say the word new education policy, I'm just going to use the word NEP, so that we understand that it is the new education policy. So, Father, very warm welcome to you. Thank you so much for spending time with us. We are very, very concerned about this new education policy because while it looks very, very good, but when it comes to the nitty-gritty, we find there are huge, huge issues that are to be resolved. And I'm very keen to know what our Catholic education system is going to do to help resolve these problems and put it on track. So my very first question to you, Father, is the NEP envisages that the education system be more interactive, investigative, discussion-based, etc., etc. Considering that there are, in our classes, in our schools, at least 55 to 60 students per classroom, how can interactive or discussion-based such a teaching continue? How is it to be done?
Yeah. Theoretically, this is a very good idea, a very good idea. But there are two things that I would like to say. And the first thing is, just saying interactive teaching, it doesn't mean effective teaching.
Exactly, that's right, yeah.
The second thing is, if we really want to make effective this interactive teaching, there are many things to be done. First of all, our classrooms today, which there are 50 to 60 students, they have to come down. We have to have maximum 40 in a class, not more than that. Okay. Secondly, when you reduce the number of the classes, that means you are increasing the number of classes. That means
more teachers.
More teachers are required. More classrooms are required. The government will have to spend on all this. The managements have to be helped, have to be given grants, so that they are able to create the necessary infrastructure so that they can house the extra number of classes.
Exactly.
The government must give them extra teachers so that effective teaching can go ahead. Otherwise, if the government is not ready to spend, nothing will happen. In the NEP, the government itself says that they want to spend 6% of the budget, annual budget. But in 2021, it was just 2.67%. So we are far way off from this thing. So besides that, I would also say the government must also help the schools to buy the kind of equipment that is needed, that will help the interaction of the teacher with the students, teacher to his teacher. The student must also be encouraged to have contact, to have kind of interaction with people outside the school. It could be in different part of the states, different part of India, or even abroad through the internet, so that their horizons get widened. And teaching really becomes an effective teaching. Now, there is a great financial expense involved. Is the government really ready to spend in order to achieve this aim, So aim is good, but without the financial support, it is going to be a follow.
It's going to be very, very difficult.
Yes.
In fact, the other question, Father, is that in the NEP, the methodology of teaching suggests that all the teachers will be ready to do interactive, discussion-based teaching. Now, our teachers, particularly our senior teachers, have been used to the rote method for years together. How are they going to be able to do this? Because I cannot see this happening.
That's true. I believe for the last few years, at least in our Nirmala Institute of Education, the new teachers are being taught in this interactive way of teaching. But as far as our senior teachers are concerned, yes, they will find it very difficult. So what is needed is these teachers have to be trained. They have to be given refresher courses to do all that. Second thing is the syllabus has to be redesigned.
Absolutely, that's right, correct.
The whole syllabus to be redesigned to help the interactive
That's right,
classroom.
correct.
Besides, when they develop the syllabus or revamp the syllabus, they also must take into account that in this whole thing of interactivity, the necessary learning outcomes which are necessary for the next higher class are not overshadowed.
Exactly, that's
The
right.
child, when he goes out, even though interactive, he must also obtain this learning outcome so that his next stage is facilitated.
that's right.
Otherwise, he can get lost there.
That's right.
So it demands training of teachers. It demands of revamping of syllabus. Okay. So there's a lot of things are involved. So my question is, why is the government in a hurry to implement this NEP? What I say is, please get the teachers trained. Spend time. Let our infrastructure be set in place. Let our whole system be set in place. Then we can go ahead.
That's right.
Because if you give this whole thing into the hands of our teachers who are ill-trained or equipped for all that, it can be counterproductive.
So it is going to be a very, very tough time for both our teachers and our students.
Our students, right? That's true.
So, Father, on the other subject that kind of bothers me when I read that NEP document, I found that they are putting a lot of stress on computers. Now, all in all, computers are great things, a nice thing to have. We noticed during COVID what happened. For many students living in rural areas, could not get connectivity, could not get the facility to learn. Having said that, even today, now that the COVID is hopefully gone away, how is the computer education going to help if the connectivity problem is not resolved? If the computers that are in the schools are half of them, particularly in the rural schools, are not working. I know this for a fact because I've been to several schools and I've seen for myself.
Yeah, generally, schools have computers, especially from the standard 5th onwards, up to 12th. Now, whether they are working or not working is another problem, but they have. But what is happening is that, the cost of this computer equipment today is really prohibitory. And the school managements, I think so, are really finding it difficult to procure that equipment, to procure new computers. I think they are really finding it difficult. And that is why the government must support the schools, either provide the necessary grants so that they can upgrade their computers, repair their computers, or replace their computers. Okay? Or give the management freedom to collect money and re-equip themselves. What is happening today is government, in the name of giving grants, saying I'm giving you grants, you are aided school, doesn't allow the management to make any kind of financial arrangements.
Oh dear.
And if the management collect money, they say this money will be adjusted against the grants given to you.
Oh my goodness.
So how can this be? Either the government says, okay, I'm giving you grants, you go ahead, or you will give the management the freedom to do their things. Okay, you cannot expect or hold the schools in an iron fist and at the same time expect them to modernize. It will not happen.
But what about connectivity?
Now, regarding connectivity, there are no towers, sufficient towers. And because this connectivity problem has come, now suddenly the government has come with a plan that they want to set up their towers in their property. They say it's our property, I can do what I want. But the people are objecting because they say this location is not good. What I would suggest is that our Gram Sabhas come together. The people decide on locations where they can have a tower.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay? And then they get in touch with the technicians, either from the government or both from the government as well as from the service
sector.
providers.
Yeah.
Okay, they all must come together and decide on that. Unless we all cooperate and have towers, connectivity will not improve. So it is collective responsibility.
So a lot of problems associated with the NEP. Anyway, let me continue with what I see as another problem, Father. NEP has also discussed about vocational training, and what they are saying is that in the West, and this is actually in their document, that 60-70% of students in the West go for vocational training. And in India, it is the reverse. About only 20-35% go for vocational training. Now, I want to put two questions to you on this particular issue. One is, why are parents not happy about sending their children to vocational studies? And why is it that graduation like BA is encouraged when actually BA does not give any jobs? So it's a kind of enigma. How do you solve this problem?
Vocational training and vocational education, how important it is and how gainful is there for us to see in Goa itself.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
So many youngsters who have done this vocational education are today gainfully employed on both the ships
Yeah,
in the Middle East, no?
that's right.
Or they have their own employment,
Yeah.
self-employed. So many girls are self-employed. So vocational education is very, very important. But while giving importance to the vocational education, we cannot and should not neglect the academic, totally academic education. We need expert people with in the profession of plumbers, carpenters, maybe electricians, machinists. We need all this, okay? But at the same time, we need professionals to work in the field of education, as teaching, law, space technology, science, metallurgists. So we need all this. Therefore, what I feel is, we cannot say this is important, this is not important. No, both the fields are important because we need good professionals in our normal life. And we also need professionals who will raise India up. It is not only the question of the just fulfilling one thing or one side of the thing, because what happens is vocational training gives you the necessary skills to work with your hand. Okay, the other will give you the necessary, so to say, intellectual skills to work on the other field, and we need all of them. Now, regarding BA, why is it important? It is important in the sense that a BA, a person with a BA, if he has got something like typing or something like that, you can be gainfully employed as a LDC somewhere or in some kind of offices or some kind of this thing. So it is not that BA is not important.
No. The way I look at it is like this: if you're talking about typing skills, secretarial skills, etc., surely you don't need a graduation. A 12th standard is good enough for that.
Yes.
In the same way, while we need carpenters and painters and all that sort of thing, it is frowned upon by the parents. They don't want to send their children for a vocational thing. Generally, if you see our schools today and see the vocational schools, the numbers of students in non-vocational are much higher than in the vocational side.
Yes. One thing is, if you look at this in this angle, then the government has to increase the number of seats in the vocational.
That's right.
Then see what the seats the government gave years back.
They're the same.
We are still going with that. 30. Okay. So it can't be that way. Either the government has to show that it really means business and increase the number of seats, give more teachers in that field, give more grants for that, and you see how people, no? And the other thing is, parents, what happens, there is this mentality that my son or my child, my daughter should be a graduate. That is
Or
the
an engineer.
is an engineer. That is the kind of, I think so, that will change over the time. But what I would say is, two things I would really insist with the government, and it is this. First, review the vocational syllabus. See that it meets the demands of the present day. Okay. Second thing, regarding general education, I would say, let the government of India try to work and get parity for our degrees with the universities of the West.
Okay.
Because what happens today is, our children become graduates, and when they go abroad, they have to repeat the whole course.
Right.
There's waste of time, waste of energy, waste of resources.
Absolutely.
So the government has to work to get parity for all this, so that our children can safely.
You're absolutely right, Father. I think the government has to get up and try to do something about all these things.
Yes.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
they're just jumping from one system to another system without even getting ourselves prepared. You're absolutely quite right. The other thing that the new NEP is suggesting, or rather going to implement very soon, is allowing students to change streams. That means a BA can go to science, or BCom can go to BA, etc., etc., etc. What do you think about this new policy that is being thought about?
I have my doubts about this. The concept as such may be good, I don't know. But in the present system, is it workable? That's a big question.
Yeah.
For example, I would say a child who is doing arts,
Yeah, correct.
okay, suddenly thinks that he wants to go to science. Will he be successful in that?
No chance at all.
Okay.
No chance at all.
Or a child doing microbiology, he's a science man, he's doing microbiology, and then suddenly thinks one day that I will do engineering. Now, without good grounding in maths, physics, can you become a good engineer?
No chance. No,
Okay.
absolutely.
So, isn't that going to lead to the will it not affect the quality of education?
That's right. Yes.
You see, it's not enough to say to change the streams. What we are talking about here is the future of our students and the future of our nation.
That's right. Yeah. But on the other hand, Father, a certain amount of flexibility should be given, don't you think?
That could be, no doubt about that. Flexibility should be there. Okay. For example, now I may be a person of arts, but maybe I have got some propensity towards some, say, maths, commerce subjects. Why not give me that chance?
Exactly, that's right. It's a kind of a blocked situation.
Yeah.
Completely.
You just cannot block a child from this, you cannot go there. But there are some fields which may not be advisable, but some things which could be.
The other wonderful thing that has been suggested, I'm saying wonderful with a little thing in my thoughts, that they want to have counselors. Now, again, the number of students in a class, 60 students in a class, what kind of counseling is that possible in a school that is overcrowded with students, and the counselor is only one for maybe 2,000 students? How do you see that?
Yeah. Counseling is very, very important, and there's no doubt about that. And especially after COVID, our children have undergone a lot of stress, and they need a lot of counseling. Government also accepts that counseling is necessary. But the government, at the same time, at the school level, has not, so to say, matched that desire with the required steps. Okay. Now, at the college level, they have introduced nice thing. The Directorate of Higher Education gives a consolidated salary, that much amount with which you have got to appoint the counselors. Okay. Now, in my college of St. Xavier's, we have got 2 counselors. There are 2 counselors, and the government pays for that. What I say, on the same lines, it could be also introduced at the school level. See, in our Catholic schools, in the AB schools, We tried this system where, since we were not able to pay, that one counselor could be appointed for 1 or 3 schools, or maybe
that's
2
right, yeah.
schools. But then what happens? You have such a large number of students, and I think so. Those who go for counseling are only those who are referred to the counselor by the management.
That's right. Yeah.
You are seen as a troublesome child, so please take care of that child.
Yeah.
But there might be others who have got a problem, but nobody takes care of that
That's right,
child.
yeah.
So this is what's happening. That's why I say the government must come with a scheme. They've already introduced at the college level. That should also be extended to the school level, so that in the schools, at least one counselor. Big schools need 2 counselors, definitely. But any school having 1,000 or more plus students, you need 2
Just for
counselors.
general information, Father, the counselors that you have appointed in the college, do they have the liberty, or does the student have the liberty to say, can I go and see this counselor? I need some help.
There's no connection between the counselor and us.
Ah,
He's like an independent person.
okay,
The student directly go.
can go.
They seek an appointment and they are with them.
Okay.
We don't interfere in that.
So that means what you said earlier is that the management chooses which student should go for counseling. That doesn't apply in colleges.
In the colleges.
Ah.
Now that in the schools, I think it was happening. Is happening only because what happens? One counselor comes twice a day. I mean, twice a week.
Oh,
Okay.
oh.
Now he is there from morning 8:30 to say 1 o'clock. Now how many students he is going to
You can
Take care
maximum
of.
see 2 or 3 maximum.
maximum 2 or 3?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what we do, what I think they were doing is, okay, this child is a little troublesome. You please see, please look into the problem. This child.
Yeah.
I think so. That was I myself don't know, but we had these counselors working, and we have had good results.
Okay, good.
We have had
Yeah.
good results.
But having
but the
said
whole-
that, having said that, sorry to having said that, are there enough counseling colleges in Goa to make sure that if the government increases the number of counselors to be employed, will the counselors coming from a college that teach counseling will be adequate?
I don't think.
So that's another problem.
There's another problem.
Yeah.
We have to go for extra seats in the colleges and all, so that we have extra counselors.
That's right, absolutely.
We have to have.
But seriously speaking, do you think this NEP is going to be implemented in the way it has been pushed to be implemented this year? It is supposed to be implemented from June. That means from in another few days.
Yeah. I don't think. And I don't think they should implement it, because, as I see it, we are still ill-equipped to start the new policy. Our teachers are not trained. They don't have enough, sufficient training of how to conduct interactive classes. The schools don't have the proper equipment, computers, this and that, no connectivity, this and that. Okay. Then the syllabus
Has not been changed.
has not been changed. It needs there's a lot of work involved, and I don't think the government can really go for.
So having said that, NEP in 2022 will really be effective only in 2032.
That I don't know. That I can't say. That I wouldn't
Maybe
like
I'm
to
a
say.
pessimist. Maybe I'm a pessimist. Okay. Now, Father, we have a lot of migrants coming into Goa, and in the local remote school areas, there are more migrants than our own students. Now, this mother tongue business becomes a problem. Whether you're going to use Konkani, are you going to use English, or the Kannadiga, are you going to use Kannadiga, or what? I mean, how do you solve this problem?
Well, personally, I am very much in favor of primary education in the mother tongue,
Right, okay.
only up to primary. At the same time, there must be something of English, so that they also get a little grounding of English when they come to the next
Right,
stage.
yeah.
from upper primary onwards, okay, that's 5th standard onwards, it should be all in English.
Right, okay.
Okay, that is my view. Because you see, if you look at the whole scenario today, the world is a global village.
Absolutely.
Okay, our children, because they are educated in English, they have been able to go abroad.
That's
Okay,
true.
they have risen up in their ranks. They have been successful in their work, in their professions, in their dealings. Okay,
Absolutely.
so this has been the greatest advantage for us.
Yeah.
Another advantage of having English education in India, I think so, is a national integration.
Yeah, that's right.
See, we have all businesses in English. Even government administration to some extent is in English.
Yeah.
So we have been able to, any citizen today can go to any part of India and settle anywhere else.
That's right. That's
Okay,
true.
that has contributed a lot of national integration. On the contrary, if you insist your education should be in mother tongue, first of all, I'm afraid we are going to create parochialism. I will not be able to go to some other state. It is going to create parochialism. So it is not going to contribute towards the national integration.
Yeah.
Secondly, I feel is going to create or widen the gap, the rich and the poor. The rich will be able to send their children, fly them abroad for education and enjoy all the perks of employment everywhere.
Absolutely. That's right.
Whereas a poor man will have to stay here, get yourself educated in the local language, and then you will have to depend on the crumbs of the employment bread. You see? So this is what I feel. And that is why I feel instead of mother tongue is good, what I say is let the government promote mother tongue in different other ways.
Yeah.
Okay? There can be dailies. Encourage people to read the dailies, story books, movies, short movies on this.
Yeah.
You know, there are different ways on how you can promote
mother
primary or mother tongue.
Yeah,
We have
that's
to
right.
keep connected with our culture, and mother tongue is keeping us in touch with that. But the government can do in different ways this contact.
That's a very, very good point you have raised. Very important point, actually. But having said that, Father, I still wonder, especially because in the rural schools in Goa, there are a lot of migrants coming in from different parts of India. And they don't know neither Hindi, neither do they know Konkani, neither do they know English. So, what is a basic mother tongue for them?
Yeah, that is true.
Ah.
That is true. See, in this kind of situations, what I would say is the present system which is going on as even in primary English, let us go there. Let can be followed when the child, as far as mother tongue is concerned, let the parents or their guardians let them take care of it. See, this is something different. But I am talking of the general line that mother tongue Konkani in the primary is important. Is important because it sometimes today our children who are educated in English right from beginning don't even know simple numbers in Konkani.
Konkani, that's true. Very true.
Simple numbers. Now you cannot deal with a person who has no English at all. You cannot say in English. He doesn't know your number and you don't understand his number. So this kind of things, that's why I say some things. Well, I mean, basic knowledge is important. Yeah.
Usually when a new house is being built or a new building is being constructed, there are very stringent provisions about the water standards, the toilet standards, etc., etc. Why is the government not strong enough to implement the same in the schools? As you say, the child doesn't have breakfast because of this problem. So, what about schools? What is the government doing about that?
See, here I wouldn't wholly blame the government. Whenever there are inspections, this has been brought to the notice of the management that you need toilets. Their toilets to be clean. You have to keep them ready for the children can use it. Your number is insufficient. You have to have more toilets. See, this is at inspection time that is already told to the schools. Sometimes the management which fail to implement the suggestions that are made at the inspection time.
But is this a funding problem? Does the government give funds for this?
See, if you make a budgetary provision and present to the government from the non-salary grant, you are permitted to use that much.
Okay.
So they have to make that. You have to have that kind of
Perspective
plan, for all that.
Now, the other question that is coming up is value education. Now, value education by itself per se is fine. There's no problem. But the current government, being what it is, has entered into a kind of a situation where there are conflicts of principles, where value education means one thing for them and another thing for the rest of the world. What is your thinking on this particular issue?
Precisely. I myself don't understand what it means, values in the Indian context or the context of Indian literature. I am myself quite lost about that. Because for me, values are universal.
Correct, absolutely.
Values are universal. And we, in the Catholic managements, whether in our colleges, in our schools, we have been imparting value education.
Yeah.
And people have appreciated it. So what are these values? These are the values which the society generally accepts.
Yeah, that's right.
You see, these are universal. For me, limiting it to this or that, I can't understand that. For me, values are universal. For what I say is, if you want to have like a value education, to make it pan-Goa, pan-India, what I say, professionals, educationalists, then religious persons, they must come together and devise a kind of a syllabus where these values will be taught in a graded way, right from primary to the higher secondary level in a graded manner. But I would really say, forging a syllabus on any one thought, either political or religious, that is going to be counteractive. I think we have to look at values in an universal way.
No, because one of the things that they have actually suggested, and it is a written document, that they want Indian literature. Now, there are people who win Nobel Prizes in literature. They are international people.
Yeah.
Where is that going to happen then? That means there is no correlation between Indian literature and the rest of the world. I'm not even talking about Western, I'm talking the rest of the world.
See, literature, after all, what does literature promote? You see, literature promotes basic human ideals of unity, peace, love, expressed in different ways.
That's right, absolutely.
Expressed in different ways. But these are the basic values where every literature from one end of the world to the other, they don't promote any other type of values. These are basic human values which are valid for the whole mankind.
That's right, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, across time and across space.
Yeah.
Okay. Why say only Indian literature?
But that's what the document says. That's what the document says. Yeah. So, Father, generally, NEP, the fact that it has been implemented, by itself, it's a fantastic law. But by the very ingredients of how to implement such a law, it is going to be a dead loss. At least I don't see anything happening at least in the next 5 years. So what do you think? I
think, what is happening just now is they also know that they cannot go ahead with that. But they want to make a lot of noise about this, about the NEP, about new policy. And as you know, this government, they simply create kind of a hula where it doesn't exist. And naturally, when the elections are close by, national election close by, we have to expect all this hula to come up. Okay.
So thank you very, very much, Father, for being so candid with your thoughts. And let us pray that NAP eventually becomes a success. So thank you so much.
Yes, there are a lot of things in that which are good,
that's
which
right,
are good. But the implementation should be properly done if we are really going to be effective in that. So thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
calling
Thank you,
on this.
thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Yeah, bye.